Hey, Spuddies, potatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Scotland. Where we left off, we had just recently killed off the Khmer. They're on a single city, and I didn't want to kill their last city because I didn't want to take the diplomatic penalty of killing a civilization entirely. And we are slowly but surely working on our empire. Building up our production, building up our science, getting our research labs online, getting our markets online, all that sort of stuff is coming down the pipeline. And you know what else is coming down the pipeline? An absolutely horrendous swarm of barbarians towards my city. Yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with this. There's a lot of barbarians. Wait, did I actually build the Panama Canal? Did I finish it? I guess I did, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, that opens up, like, pretty interesting either theater square here with a +5, or possibly even an industrial zone here with +3. I think I like the theater square idea quite a bit. +5 theater square, it's getting +4 from these two wonders, and then an additional +1 from the two districts that it's adjacent to, so that works out pretty well in my favor. Yoink, and pillage, and fall back. I still maintain that pillaging for one movement with like high-speed cavalry, it almost feels like cheating. Because I got 500 gold. No other action in the game can a player do that makes them quite as much like resources for a single action. We're having a little bit of trouble defending Scone, but my vampire is in the area now, and he'll be able to start doing work. Killing off 1 unit per turn. As long as we can survive a little bit longer, we'll be fine. We also need to get rid of these infantry. And maybe it would be a good idea to buy a digger who could also fight here. But they are really trying to take that city from me. I do have a biplane in the area, and that's going to help with the defense. I could upgrade it to a fighter. I think I will upgrade this to a fighter because that'll get me a bit of era score, and it'll also increase the range and damage to where he'll almost be able to one-shot most of these things. I think my number one threats are just getting things off the board. If that's possible, if I can kill a unit, then this city takes less damage. So that's going to be my priority. Now, it could be possible to allow a city-state to develop here. It would be a very expensive proposition, and I don't think I care that much. It's much easier to achieve that in the early game, so I may just harvest this for its experience. Now, can I swing in here, pillage for faith, swing in here, pillage for faith, and then Zoidberg my way away? And I think I can. I just got 500 faith for that. Speaking of which, I need to actually change my government here, because I still need lots of builder charges, so public works is important. I think I could lose one of these cards. I think I lose Diplomatic League and then instead plug in public works, and that'll allow me to actually get builders a little bit quicker. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. City's under threat, but it should be fine. We have a fighter who can take out you. You can take out him. You can damage him. You can take out him. You can come forward and kill and then shoot. Perfect. So Scone is now defended, and we can go back to building the important stuff like repairing our market and getting our campus online. Buy the granary in Selkirk. I'd also like to buy the watermill, and that's just to get the city growing. We need to get it scaling up, and I think it would scale really well off a builder as well. So getting a builder down there would be superb and supreme. Pillage for faith. If I stepped forward here, it would only cost me half a movement and I could still dip out. But I'm getting so much science from pillaging here, and I'd love to get in and around here. You, of course, are building a government plaza, or you have built a government plaza. Man, there's so much pillageable stuff here. Really, really tempted to run in and just... The problem is my safe spot is like non-existent around here, so I'd have to position myself pretty poorly. Whoa, what are these ball dome things? What is going on there? I've never seen... I don't think I've ever seen that in a city before. Wait, what? Do my cities have that? Oh my god, camera, please cooperate. I don't have disco ball domes in my cities. What? How? I want disco balls. What is going on there? I'd love an explanation. Like, can you see these things that I'm talking about? These things. We have conservation now, so we can start planting forests to improve the production of some of these cities. And that will definitely be a priority of mine. I'll probably start using my gold to purchase builders in Dumfries. I don't think 30 gold is worth having to fight another barb. I do wish the gold from the barbarian mode scaled based on the era, and I'm feeling pretty good about things. Let's go ahead and form an army with you. So we have a super powerful defense unit here. And then I'll just spend a bit of time healing up with these boys. Let's rebase to Selkirk, and then I'll deploy this fighter down across this floodplain. We've kind of used up all the pillageable land nearby. These are worth health, So it's not worth pillaging them as a rule. But if we position ourselves between the cities and only take one city shot on one of these things, we can use this as basically a health store for this unit. We pillage and then run and pillage something else and then position. And as long as we don't get shot twice, we should be fine. We will get shot. Oh, the one shot. Okay, I didn't realize that we did that much damage. Really, these are cavalry armies. I guess I need I guess I need helicopters, right? Because right now I've got cavalry armies, which are only 62 base combat strength. So maybe I could see if I can sneak back here. Because once we have satellites, we can start heading up this way. And I'll get to work on synthetic materials. And I'll maybe use some aircraft, some heli choppers to do my dirty work. Do we have a potential campus here? Right, we've got an encampment. Good, military. I think this is where I wanted to make a couple of military engineers and start railroading. I think my current coal income is fine. My iron income would have a hard time sustaining. I could probably sustain 3 military engineers pretty easily. So I may like hard build 2 and purchase one and then have those guys just do railroad stuff for me. Deploy our fighter out into the fog of war. We don't see anything down here. That's good. It's going to be like our early warning system. Many dispute the start of the actual information era. But you know, it was when Scotland discovered satellites. So we have access to the moon landing. Now, we don't have our spaceport built, which is understandable. But we still have a lot of science to generate. So being a little bit behind and actually launching it is fine. Like genuinely fine. It really isn't that big of a deal. Now, I think I would like an entertainment complex in Aberdeen, but I'd also like to get some commercial hubs for trade routes. Trade routes scale incredibly well in this game. Let's see here. I could start building solar farms, but I do need to get golf courses in every city. And I need those golf courses to make up for the fact that my cities are going to be quite tall, and thus they're going to be consuming a lot of amenities. I wonder if I can get this builder out. I kind of had him here as a scout unit, but now I'm curious. Can he escape? You want to buy my Mercury? Sure, you can buy my Mercury. I may as well sell it to her. I'm not getting huge amounts of value from just sitting on Mercury. In fact, that's probably a great way to get Mad Hatter syndrome. I'm looking at the great people here. Diplomatic visibility, wonder construction. Dwight Eisenhower. Was he implemented with a mod, or is that just a great person that I've never seen before? Hang on a minute. Did I accidentally run a modded game? I'm pretty sure this is unmodded. Maybe I just don't remember him. I think he was implemented at some point. I just didn't remember him. So the big thing is I need to get more campuses. That's how I scale into my late game here. Is the more campuses I have, the better my relationships with my city-states are, the more science I will get. Because, right, from every city-state, there is a potential 6 science in every city, okay? Now, if you think about that, right? Take this one, for example, right? A library produces base 2 science, a university produces base 4 science, and a research lab produces base 3 science, 5 when powered. So if I'm getting 1, 2, 3 added to all of these, that's 6 per city. So again, the really big thing, so to compare that, if I were to come into the city and force work all 3 of these tiles, that's only 9. That's like 9 science. That's 1.5 city-state relationships. So that's why city-states are actually the big way that most players don't understand how to scale into the late game. And 99% of the time, it's city-states. If you're playing any sort of single-player game, it's gonna be city-states. I've got a bit of a housing problem in Dumbarton. I think getting a harbour eventually would help with that. I think we decided Theatre Square was the move here, and we'll just continue working on that research lab. And I'm going to send this trade route to my capital again. I'm going for sort of an internal tall communist style play where we don't trade with the outer world. I definitely need a builder over here to put forests down and repair this grove. So there's a lot of potential things I need to just I got to keep my finger on the buzzer. We got a market over here, which means another trade route. We do have 2 trade routes available. I don't think I'm going to build the trade route here. I think builders are just so important. Now, the thing is, right, all these builders that I'm getting, it is going to hurt my late game. And that's because my particular science style, the late game is based around using builders to churn out my space missions. And so if I'm building builders now, the reality is that's going to slow down. It's going to slow down my late game play by a little bit. But, you know, having nice cities is the most fun way to play for me. And so that's the way that I'm going to play. We have steel, so we get extra +1 production from lumber mills. So now that we have conservation and steel, getting lumber mills down in some of these flatland cities alongside farm triangles, stuff like that is going to be super useful. 12 turns from ideology, pure ideology. We have an armory and Anchor Thom. I think I have enough engineers on the way. In fact, I'm going to buy an engineer. There's 700 gold, but I think that's worth it. Speaking of Anchor Thom, if we look at the city, it's got a holy site and a theatre square. Not a very good theatre square either. I think it would be of value for me to get an entertainment complex on that tile, and that will provide amenities for the local cluster up here. Kind of wish there was an entertainment map mode. That would be kind of neat, kind of like power. Oh yeah, I forgot to assign him back to my capital after he got murdered. Might be good to have a spy in my capital protecting Pingala rather than just leaving him to the wolves. But I mean, you know, sometimes you gotta leave your dudes to the wolves. Sometimes the wolves are your best friends. So I'm sitting on a lot of faith, which will probably be used to get helicopters to continue the war with the Kree. I need to think about this city's districts. I'm thinking an industrial zone surrounded by lumber mills is fine over here. It would give the city the productivity it needs to be useful. Then I don't have a whole lot of qualms about what I do with it. So maybe we get something cheap that we don't have a lot of. I'll probably just use this as like a cultural city. So I think a theater square there is fine. So we're working 3 good tiles. Let's start setting up another good tile using the woods planting. Theoretically, you should be working that tile now. Perfect. Let's start building our railroads. The cool thing is, if you set up a search for railroad, there we go, you can actually see where you've already built your rail and make sure that all your cities are connected to your rail network. So we added the lumber mill to this city. That'll help it produce, hopefully a little bit faster. I think it actually needs farms, but it's a little bit low food. It's only working on average 2 food per tile, which is not good enough to get up to our housing limit. So there's probably going to be a farm triangle here. All right, now this is going to start becoming a powerhouse because I can start laying down forests for an extra +1 production on at least 3 of these tiles. This tile, not so much, but it is getting volcanoed, so it's a small comfort. I'm also going to go ahead and pick up the sanctuary here because that'll give me +2 science, +2 production, and +2 gold on each of these tiles once I have all the forests down. Vatican City is in a bit of trouble. I don't know if I care. I feel like Protectorate War is reasonable here. Yeah, I'm going to declare a Protectorate War on Byzantium because I'm ahead of them. And it's mostly going to be down to me using my my aircraft to enforce world peace. One of the more powerful parts of this strategy that I'm going for is you can use your aircraft for lots of really cool stuff. Roger Dodger, we have a spaceport in the capital. I need to get this workshop repaired. I hate that you can't use money for that. And I also need a neighborhood in here because we're jammed for slots. I think I'll get that repairing and then I'll work on the Earth satellite. There's definitely a spy in here causing me issues, so maybe it would be good if I found a high production city, of which I do not have many high production cities because my empire is kind of in a bit of a shambles. Oh, hello. Where did you come from, sir? You're not welcome in this town. I could possibly sneak a national park in here. I don't think I've unlocked. Oh, I have. Yeah, I think I could sneak a national park in here, which would be even more amenities across my empire. But again, we're playing Scotland. Amenities are life for Scotland. So the great thing about being ahead technologically is you basically just need a single airplane and you can completely eliminate someone's army. You just knock them out of the war. Get out of here. So in between repairing buildings, I'm actually going to shunt my overflow production into the Earth satellite. It's just like a very small optimization thing. When you have a massive production city, some of the overflow gets lost if you don't like kind of do a little bit of micromanagement. We're going to designate a national park right here. That's a ton of air scored too, which is helpful. But more importantly, national parks give amenities to the 4 closest cities, which should help my overall empire-wide amenities. It's kind of hard to target a particular city with amenities when you're using national parks, but it's not too bad to be able to pick up a little bit, just a little bit of extra yields. Because the higher your amenities are, the higher your yields are. That said, I still think that amenities can be mostly ignored. I don't think amenities are like super important. As long as you're like at -1 or 2 or 0, you're fine. You don't need to be massively positive. Now, once you start getting into the really low amenity numbers, that's when things get a little bit dicey. But generally, looking after amenities is fairly straightforward. It's a lot of just like trading for luxuries, building the occasional entertainment district. I swear to every single time I finish repairing this holy site, this thing goes off. I'm done repairing this holy site. I'm just done. I'm done repairing this holy site. It's actually broken me. I am a broken man now. I can't take it. I cannot take it. I can't take my holy site just getting murked continuously. I really just can't. Hey, you want a railroad update? There's the beginnings. We've got a couple of cities up here to the north locked in. I've got an engineer coming down here to start linking up my southern cities, and the new empire is getting linked up as well. I don't know, I just think this is a really neat feature. I think there's a lot of really big leaps forward for the Civilization franchise in Civ 6, but I think there was also a couple of like small steps back. Like the perfect situation for me would be if we were able to preserve all of the forward leaps, in particular with regards to the UI, because the UI has been a big step forward in a lot of ways, but also in a few other ways, it's also been a bit of a step back. Like there's things about the UI I don't like in Civ 6, and I'd like to see those addressed and improved in an eventual successor game. But it really does feel like every iteration of this genre that we go through, whether it's, you know, a mainline Civilization franchise or an offshoot game, there is sort of a fundamental progression feeling. It's almost like the games themselves are sort of going through the process that they depict, right? That you start off small and basic and technologically sort of primitive, and then you kind of continue on. And it's, you know, sort of like that, the way that humanity can move forward in the same way that we kind of like progress through history. We sometimes leave behind things that maybe we shouldn't have. And it's important that we don't leave those things behind, because the stuff that we build upon, right? Those things, sometimes the things that we're leaving behind are actually like foundational to the whole reason why we're able to advance at all. So if we leave it behind, the thing that we move forward with can end up feeling a bit hollow. And that's just like a philosophical point of view of how to design a UI, right? Which is like, it's a very grandiose way to phrase it, but it is a good way to think about it. There are certain you have to be careful about what you take away and what you don't carry on, because you might find yourself in a situation where things just don't work the way you want them to, or had intended to have them work. So yeah, I don't know. This is like, take care. Take care when you're designing systems. Take care when you're modifying things. Take care when you're building upon systems. I don't know. I'm probably just talking. Listen, we're in the late game. This is what we call the late game churn. We've been here many times. Get that churn counter out, boys. The churn, it's a mystical place, really. It's where civilization YouTubers go to be put down. You get to the late game and you're just, you know, grinding your way through turns. One thing I really appreciate about the game is that like little things like this can happen. I've got these like modern tarmac roads running through my empire, but also there's like these little ancient roads that are filled in too, and then these like little Renaissance roads. So just by a quirk of, you know, of when the roads were built, by which things and how they were built, etc. There's a great variety and history of your empire built into your empire, and I think stuff like that is really, really cool. I'd like to see more of that in the genre in general. Not necessarily just from Civ. I think I'm going to prioritize growth here. So I'll drop these horses and work that farm triangle. And this should naturally boost the city's population very, very quickly over time, because we have a food surplus of +10. Probably not necessary to do it this turn, but you know, overflow is overflow. Killing barbarians. I'm probably going to do something similar here. I think I'd like my farm triangles to touch. Always touch your farm triangles off your other farm triangles, okay? It becomes a new shape, a glorious shape. What do I do with this city? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with this city. I'm just going to throw down a campus. Just going to throw down a campus and hope that was the right choice. I got a second copy of iron, which means I could possibly consider maybe going for some more, I could maybe go for more military engineers to build more rail, but eventually like military engineers just kind of end up standing around doing nothing anyway. So we have the helicopter, which means this guy can be upgraded. I don't have enough gold in my treasury, which logically means I'm going to start looking for trade deals. Not Casus Bellis, I'm looking for trade deals, sir. 20 gold per turn. That should translate into about 300 gold and 5 gold per turn, roughly. Excuse me? Yeah, 300 gold and 5 gold per turn. So let's see if we can do a similar thing with a few civs this game. Well, I kind of want your marble. You have none of these things. You have no gold, so never mind. Alexander. My good sir, give me your luxuries. Please buy my luxuries. You give me 46 gold per turn. Done. Hojo. 20 gold per turn. Probably give me about, what if I throw in a bit of Diplo favor? Come on, my guy. I know you like Diplo favor. What about, you have iron? What if I gave you some horses? There you go. Thank you. Now I do have the gold to upgrade Macav. So currently 79 combat strength. I click this button, kaboom, takes me 3 aluminum. And then this bad boy is 103 combat strength. And then we can get back to pillaging. It is time to pillage. We're also going to get to work on Mars colony, and I totally forgot to do the overflow thing in my capital. I got distracted and completely forgot, so it is what it is. Deal with it. Handle it. More wealth. I was watching that old classic Onyxia raid for World of Warcraft, where some dude with an accent, whose accent I have no idea what his accent is, but I know he just has an accent. And he's just like screaming at his raid. More whelps, many whelps, whelps, left side. And yeah, I kind of wish I had been there. Kind of wish I had been there for that, because that sort of moment is legendary. And you know for a fact that because people were recording him, that wasn't the first time this dude, went crazy and just started screaming about whelps. I feel like, occasionally, right, people get caught out. Maybe you're having a bad day. You end up having a shouting match with someone. Boom, it gets posted online. You get humiliated. But most of the time, someone is just consistently a jerk. And someone is like, you know what? I'm going to get evidence of how insane this guy is purely because I know people don't believe me when I talk about him. And that's what that video is, as far as I'm concerned. Some dude who is consistently insane, and somebody was like, people won't believe us unless I get evidence. It's like, I need evidence of this dude being so mad about a raiding in World of Warcraft that it needs to happen. Like humanity will be worse off if it's like picturing Bigfoot. You know what I mean? You need to get it on film. You need to get it. You need to get the evidence. Because right, here's the thing: I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I think humanity would be better off if Bigfoot was real. We'd live in a more interesting world. Launch Earth satellite. That's a very loud cutscene. But the big advantage is beep, 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 beep. We get 4 era score and the entire map is revealed. Look at this bad boy down here in the bottom left. But look at all these cities. Oh my god, look at this. This is cool. We got Ayutthaya. Oh, there's actually, I really like the barbarian mode because it makes these sorts of things happen. You get these like little scattered city states all around. Maybe some people don't like it. Now the AI over here, it looks like they just went nuts and killed all their city states. Trying to see if I can spot any city states that have been murdered. Wow, this is Portugal right here. Japan is Portugal this game. This universe's Portugal. They got a little bit less of Galicia. They should probably be up to like here, but my god, Congo, what are you doing? Settling these, forget what these Balearic Islands? That's the old geography coming back to me, guys. Mexico is definitely a city-state. I feel like that's true. Let's see if I can find city-states that have been murked out of the game. Samaria, did you get wrecked? Samaria, improve your tiles, dude. Jesus Christ. Why does the AI have such a hard-on for these things? They're not even that good. They're not even that good off of a river. You need growth. You can't just work these. You'll have lots of tech, but nothing to show for it. So Portugal is Italy in this game, with a little chunk of France. I think France owns one of these islands. I never remember. I think Italy owns this one, and France owns this one. There's some weird relationship. I feel like every time I look at this part of the map, I'm like, Italy should own this one, or I'm like, France should own this one because it's closer, or something. There is no arrangement where like each nation owns one of these islands, and it makes sense. These should just be independent islands, all right? Hot take, those islands should be independent nations. They should form a cooperative union with Malta, get the Balearic Islands in on it, get Crete, get all these Aegean islands, get Cyprus on it, and it should be the Mediterranean Island Alliance, right? Corfu, somewhere over here, get Corfu in, all right? And then they could have a diplomatic relationship with the Azores out here. The island people of the Mediterranean should be their own nation, all right? And it's $1 billion if you want to build a naval base or an air base on it. That's it. And any nation can build an air base or a naval base on it. You guys can stop fighting over our islands and let us live in peace. Just have your military base and fuck off. I feel like that's how a lot of the people who live there feel. They're like, I mean, obviously there's like the political reality, right? Where you gotta have, it's like, well, I guess we don't have this big guy on our side. This other big guy is gonna come and like ruin our day. So better the devil you know. And you know what? I don't like that. I don't like that choice. Let's put 3 into Fez, and because that gets us the most bang for our buck. Then I'll probably put 1 into Venice. If I'm putting 1s in, I should really have the card that doubles my things. So I'm gonna wait actually. But we're up to 600 science per turn, which is very, very respectable. Anyway, as I was on a tangent. I was on a tangent about the islands. Probably like 90% of the people there just wish they could live their lives. But then the actual like people that are into politics, like, well, no, we kind of need to be part of this other like weird, like I think Cyprus has some fucking real weird shit going on with it politically. And it's like, can we just not have the people who live there just be chill? Can we just like let them live their lives? Can we not like fight over them? Wouldn't that be great? But it's because Cyprus is like an important strategic position for power projection in this area of the world where, Israel and all it's like, it's such a mess, dude. It's such a mess. And sometimes, you know what I want to do? I want to just crawl into my safe space and just play some Civ. And you know what? That's the advantage of the job that I have, is that I could just do that and I can't be criticized. People go, you're not being productive. I'm like, dude, I'm working right now. I am working, sir. So I don't like your tone, right? I am a productive member of society. I am not hiding from reality. So we're taking a lot of shots here. I need to be careful. You can't really safely pillage. Like, even though this is like one of my giga insane strongest units, it's still getting dunked on. Oh, wow. I thought I would actually be earning more great people points. That's interesting. So she got a Diplo point, which is fine. I mean, I got a civic boost, which I'll take. So I need to be careful not to pillage the trade route, because if you plunder a trade route, well, you're going to have a bad time. That's too many shots. So I'm going to retreat. Oh, you know what? It's probably time for a railroad update. There we go. All right. Now look at that railroad, right? It goes all the way from Stirling up to Roxborough. It loops around here. Probably going to loop down into that city. And then you'll start looping your way down to complete the railroad connections to the other cities. But yeah, my cities are now connected up pretty well. Which means, for example, if I grab this Eagle Warrior and take this off so you can see how far he can walk, he can actually get all the way down here in a single turn, which is pretty damn nice, all things considered. Like, it's not super range, but that's only a two movement unit covering like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles. So basically quadruples his range in a single turn. That's why I think railroads are super, super important. I'd actually like to see maybe some more earlier mechanics for roads and stuff like that. It feels like they don't do a huge amount until railroads. And then once you get railroads, they're kind of insane. But that's just my old spicy take. Potatoes, spicy takes. That sounds like something you would like... you would find like on a shop in an old like 1950s supermarket. And it'd be like, oh, potatoes, old spicy takes. And it would probably have some mildly racist like Irish caricature on it. Says the guy who has a literal potato as his avatar. I'm Irish, it's okay. Is it though? Oh no, I can't have this existential crisis right now. Listen, we'll have this another day. I don't think people should get tourism from great works of writing. I'm gonna vote that up 3 times. Who's the most hated person? It's probably me, if we're being real. Nobody likes Congo. So whatever resource Congo has, I'm just gonna vote it down. That's how I'm doing things, right? Where's Congo? Congo, you got a lot of wine? Guess what? Fuck your wine. Get out of here. Yeah, wine got wrecked. Great works of writing have been disabled, and Poundmaker gained diplomatic victory points. We got composites, modern armor, AT, wind farms. Wind farms are cool. I like wind farm. People hate on wind farms, but you know what? I think we should be farming the wind. The world is running out of wind. We need more of it. We should be farming the wind. We should also be farming the sea. I don't think we have enough fresh water. We should farm fresh water, okay? And we should release some of that fresh water into the wild, okay? So it can live out its natural life cycle, okay? There isn't enough. Fresh water is an endangered species. Okay, I'm done with this bit. It's a bad bit. So I pillage the industrial zone, and then I stand still so I don't take much damage. Most damage I can take is a city shot plus a machine gunner. I got a heal on tap. I got another heal on tap over here. A couple pillages. I need to stay where my heal. I need to stay near where my heals are. All right, we got a machine gunner problem. Make peace. You know what? I'm gonna refuse that deal, and I'm gonna damage his cities a little. Hang on. He's like bombing the shit out of this thing. I don't know how he's doing it. Then I attack that city, and then I'll attack that city, and that little bit of attack damage he's taken on his cities should actually make him more willing to peace, because it's like direct war exhaustion, or I don't know how the mechanic actually works. Oh my god, this is so much damage. I think what I do here is pillage once and then just dip. I dip. Pengala was neutralized again. I need to get a spy. They're doing bad shit in my capital and I don't like it. So I tells you what. Where is? Give me a productive city. You get me a spy. All right, we got Mars Colony. You know what's hard? Here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't appreciate how easy it is to say something really, really kind of like, I don't know, inappropriate. This is something I was thinking about. It kind of like I don't think I said anything really inappropriate during the recording of this episode, but I get it, because sometimes you're riffing, you're like exploring ideas, and sometimes, you know, it's weird because this is like, it's doing Let's Plays isn't exactly stand-up comedy. I'm not going to say they're the same thing, but there are sort of elements of the same thing. Like you're trying to be interesting to an audience at some point. Now, the advantage I have is that this isn't live, so I could like if I like say I take a joke too far, or I think on reflection maybe that joke wasn't right, or maybe I made a political statement that was too far, I can go back and change that. But if you're just like figuring stuff out in front of an audience, that's tough, man. And that's why I have a lot of respect for live streamers, because you have to be so careful with your takes. You know, it's one of the reasons I like places like Reddit and stuff like that. And ideally, Twitter should be a place for this too. But for some reason, we have just nuked Twitter from being a place where people could like just throw ideas out and then get like disagreements. Like in my perfect world, I haven't been talking about the game for a while. I should probably talk about the game. I'm basically, just to give you an update on what I'm actually playing, right? I've got the moon landing. on the way. I've got Mars Colony ready. I'm making spies to defend my capital because I'm getting fucked with constantly. And I'm setting up trade routes in some of my weaker cities to try to sort of counterbalance how bad some of them are doing. Yeah, but what I was saying, about being live. It's like if you're live to an audience, you don't get the privacy to make mistakes. And I feel like Twitter is the same thing. But the problem is, like, I feel like these platforms have morphed into, like, how we communicate globally, and I don't like it. I feel like Twitter should be for shitposting bad ideas. That's what that's my ideal world, okay? People throw bad takes up on Twitter, they get a bit of criticism, they go, okay, cool, I'm going to take this forward now, all these criticisms you've given me, I'm going to bring them forward into the real world. I tested my ideas, I got a bit of backlash, I've thought about them better, and I've refined them. But instead, it's like, if you have a take, it's instantly, you're a piece of shit for having this take. There's something wrong with you. And then because you're attacking someone, they're not going to change their mind. Listen, I get it. Some people are pieces of shit and deserve to have that said to them, okay? But like most people have bad takes. Like 90% of all takes are bad. And just because someone isn't caught up with like the modern, philosophical thought of what the good take is today, doesn't mean they're an evil bastard who deserves to be disparaged. Anyway, all right, we got theocracy. I have no dog in this race because I do my best to be non-controversial as often as possible. I like to dip my toe into controversy occasionally, but I'm more of a controversy. I can't say the word, dude. I can't say the word. A controversy tourist. Right, so we're going to go for communism here. 0.6 production per citizen in cities with a governor and 10% science. So that's why we're going for communism. The other reason we're going for communism is because of its unique card. If we go over here, class struggle, we got collectivization. That's +2 production and +4 food from domestic trade routes. I'm going very much so for an internal trade route direction. I feel like there's a card here that I felt like was overbuffed a bit. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I feel like this collectivization, this would be really cool if it had like a warlike aspect to it or something like +2 production and +2 food from like to the destination city from cities not originally settled by yours, so that communism has a little bit of an incentive to expand. It's sort of like you're getting extra value from the cooperation of having greater land or whatever. I don't know, maybe that's not a fully fleshed out idea there, but I think this is just a little bit drab. It's good, but it's drab. So we're going to plug in collectivization. We're going to not plug in defense of the motherland. We will plug in communism because it's pretty damn good. From a gameplay perspective, we get that 10% science. So I definitely feel like 5-year plan is a part of my thing. Public works is a part of my thing. And then absolutely collectivization makes a big part of my thing. Rationalism has been nerfed to the point where it's really just not a good card anymore. It was never amazing. Honestly, the 5-year plan cards, like these need to be nerfed. This could be buffed. This could be 100% and it would still be okay. Like it would still just be okay. Because that's just my take anyway. Rationalism was actually never as good as I thought it was. Colonial taxes would be good. Raj would be good. I definitely want to take out Merchant Confederation and plug in Diplomatic League because I have a good amount of those things to spend. I kind of wish I could have Theocratic Legacy because that was a lot of faith I was getting from that. I'd love to have Republican Legacy plugged in too. I don't know. I feel like I kind of miss the original legacy system. I get why it's not in the game anymore. It was a little bit too hard to balance and a little bit imba and stuff like that. And I think this is a good replacement to it. But I still feel like I should have more permanent decisions to make for my civ. I think the thing to go for here is we have Total War, Levy en Masse. I think we just plug in logistics so we can move our builders around a little easier. But then eventually that'll become a production card towards spaceport stuff. All right, I need to find where my health is here. Where is my heal? My heal is on a farm. Station there. Good. Civic-wise, now that we have communism, we can head towards Cold War. What are we doing? Moon landing in 5. So what can we do to get our science up in the next 5 turns? Probably not a huge amount. A lot of what we've done now is kind of locked in. The big thing might be identifying city-states that we can take sovereignty of. Out of curiosity, I already fought him this turn, didn't I? Yeah. Growth rate, science per religion. So I could peace out and get Geneva on my side. Be hard to get Geneva on my side. I may just put 3 into Taruga for the +3 from research labs, which will net me about 30 to 40 science, which altogether not too bad. I spent a lot of time waffling there. I was talking pure bollocks for a good while. So let's kind of focus on the game a bit. Railroad is coming along fantastically. Railroad update. Most of these cities up here are linked up in a bit of a network. Probably will do some cross-linking just to make sure that, everywhere touches everywhere. And then I'm going to do some cross-linking down here to link up these cities. My railroad is making progress down through these mountains. I do like the idea of a railroad going through a national park. I hope that's something that I can do. I like the idea of being able to, you know, get on the Orient Express or whatever and see all the cute little animals and forests as you go through the national park. I feel like that could give people a sense of pride in their nation. They have beautiful parks and stuff. Anti-air gun. Boom, 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 click, boom. So we just got a ton. Now, the risk is we don't have a safe place to run to here. So pillaging is going to be a bit scary for a sec. 31 damage. So I feel like I can take one more shot before I need to find a heal. That's provided nothing else appears. So I think we go for the pillage and the pillage. And then we pillage here. And then we got to look for a heal. Well, if we can't find a heal, we may as well jump in defensive terrain. It's the next best thing. I'm telling you, dude, pillaging is insane. It's insane. Legitimately crazy how good pillaging has become over time. Yeah, look, we got a little railroad going straight through the national park. You know what would be cool? Reintroducing wildlife. Like, let's say you harvest all your deer, or like there's wolves. I think there should be more wildlife. I feel like I think one of the limitations is in Civ games right now is, you know, it used to be in Civ 4 and before, it used to be cities could only reach 2 tiles, okay? So, you know, it used to be like this tile, but imagine it was on like a square grid. So it was like, this was your capital, you could do the tiles immediately around that, and then all the tiles orthogonal to it. That means like directly touching them. And then when we switched to the hex grid, we got to 3 range. I feel like Civ needs to up the range now. Cities feel very, very cramped on these big maps. So I think they just need to kind of make cities space out a bit more. Give them 4 range, all that sort of stuff. I think that would be something to consider for the next Civ. I think the 3 range thing works really well, but it does end up feeling like there's not enough room because cities can overlap a lot. No! Okay. Well, we got a lot of value out of that guy. I would say we absolutely like creamed the Kree and like seriously hurt their efforts. Oh my god, Batriu, what are you doing scientifically? When did you steamroll ahead? How is she doing on the science victory? Oh, she's on the moon landing as well. All right, fair enough. She doesn't have nanotechnology, so I'm ahead of her there. All right, that's interesting. She's a few techs ahead of me, which is concerning. But I'm pretty confident in my ability to outpace the AI. So it looks like nuclear fusion is my gatekeeper technology. The way you can tell, by the way, which of these techs you want to like try to go for it first is click on each of them and then keep an eye here. Once you have nanotechnology, that should unlock like one of these guys. And then what you want to do is you want to click through them. There'll usually be 2 other techs, robotics and nuclear fusion, and see which one connects to the most things. Nuclear fusion, I researched the fastest because I already have most of the prerequisite techs, and that will actually unlock 3 of these, which will allow me to find the exoplanet stuff. But yeah, we are steaming ahead towards the victory. The W. The big dub. I don't know who calls it the big dub, but I do. We got our spy. Let's use him to counter spy the capital. Sterling needs help. I could use, this city has a lot of surplus food, so I think farms now are a bit redundant because most of its surplus food is coming from these vampire castles. Yeah, it's only eating 50 food. So in a big way, I need to get like these things up. But I think on the cusp of completing the moon landing, I'm going to call it there. And next episode will be almost certainly the finale. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.